John 3:16. Oh yes, when one day John 3:16. Good evening, everyone. As I walk in here, I saw my favorite person in the congregation. Everybody wondering who that is. Who that is, Eddie? Who that is? Jesus. Good day, everyone. And I said on Sabbath that when we make a contract with people, we must keep that contract. So when we say to people we are finishing at 8:30, it should be 8:30. And if I say I need 40 minutes to speak, I should get 40 minutes to speak. Not so? So I will go over tonight, but it won't happen again. I didn't know you were in Iran. Nice man. And your lovely daughter there. Yeah, so I want to say that. I want to say that to the team in a public way. So they will know I'm someone who do that. I am looking to have 40 minutes messages, and I must be up in time to do 40 minutes. I don't want to disappoint the people that they come and they put me up at 8:20 and I speak for 10 minutes because I will do that. For those who know me, know I'm a man of my word. And I will do that. So from tomorrow night, please give me 40 minutes. Yeah. While the singing was beautiful, and I must say that, I know the people came to hear the preacher. Yes. I know that. Yeah. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we give thee thanks for your grace and for your mercy, for your love, for being here with us again as you have promised. We ask that you will warm our hearts tonight in a most marvelous way. We pray, Lord, that you come close, divinely close to each and everyone here tonight. When we leave this place, Father, help us to leave rejoicing, knowing that we have come and we have supped with thee. In Jesus' name we pray. Tonight, we will see the world. From the time God give a understanding of what the world will be to this very time. I don't know why I am seeing. I don't know why. Yes, now, folks, I'm seeing stuff that I should not be seeing. Okay. No, I said everywhere I go, I tell churches that when we speak about spiritual warfare. A lot of folks like to say spiritual warfare. That is when people are demon possessed and things like that. No, no. Spiritual warfare is what we are doing now. This is the warfare. This is what we are doing now. And because of what we are doing now, we expect certain things to happen. But we cannot just blame the enemy while we did not prepare. You know what I'm saying? We are blaming the enemy and did not prepare for the occasion, and then we blame the enemy. This evening, we are going into real spiritual warfare in the sense that we are going to speak what God said would happen and show that it happened just as he said. There's nobody in the world, nobody, I believe, can look upon what is happening all over the world and do not understand that something is about to happen. You cannot see all this crime and this mayhem and climate change and religious intolerance and all these things and think that things are happening as usual. It is not. Something is wrong. But God wasn't taken unaware. He has predicted, he has shown us in his word every single thing that have come to pass, grand things in this world. God has guided us and has shown us in his word. This evening, to prove that the Bible is a book that we can trust, I'm going to show how God predicted the world down to tonight in Brooklyn. That's what I'm about. What lies ahead, you're going to see tonight. God's idea is that you will not be caught unaware. And because of his love for us, he has shown us exactly what will happen through the pages of the scriptures. What lies ahead? And when we think about what lies ahead, we ask ourselves, where can we find answers to the many troubles of our time? And when I say everything, climate change, these days have been very hot. And folks are saying, wow, how could this place be like that all over the world, where the systems and things are happening? And you say, but all these things that God had predicted in his word. And every night, from the rise of Islam to Protestantism, to the rise of the Catholic Church, to the rise of all things that have happened that is grand in this world, these things are in the scriptures. And tonight I'm going to bring in a process to point out each and everything to you, that what we are experiencing now is in the scriptures. The great religion of the world all look to the future. Where can we find answers concerning the future? But all the great religions of the world speak about the future. I want to tell you something. Only the Bible has prophecy. I want you to understand that. It seems strange. I want you to understand 30% of the Bible is prophecy. And from tonight, I'm going to explore all the prophecies in the Bible. Once you come here from night to night, you will have a great understanding of the prophecies of the Bible. The writings of Muhammad in the Quran, there's no prophecy. The only thing you can resemble a prophecy is that in Islam, they say that Jesus is coming again. But there's no prophecy. Islam tells you nothing of even the coming of Islam. Islam says nothing about the rise of America, about the rise of this and fall of the Soviet Union. The Bible spoke of that. The Bible spoke about the coming of China. The Bible spoke about the Daniel chapter 11. The Bible spoke about the king from the north and the king from the south that we are witnessing today. The rise of the far right movement. The Bible spoke about that also. Can the Bible be trusted? I think it can. In all the writings of Buddha, well, Buddha had no writing, all the sayings of Buddha, that people put into writing, there's no prophecy, nothing on prophecy in the writings of Buddha. The writings of Confucius is also lacking in prophecy. I'm calling, there are more people in the world who reference Buddha than anybody else. You know that? Yes. Buddha, China have more people than anywhere else in the world. So there are more people who see Buddha as a great enlightened one than anybody else. But the teachings of Buddha, there's no prophecy. The teaching of Confucius, no prophecy. Then we come to the writing of God. In Acts chapter 17 and verse 26, he said, and he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell in all the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwelling. God has made us from one blood, although we look different. So we are caught up in these race talk, but the Bible says God has made us from one blood. The same thing that will kill me, will kill the Chinese man, and will kill the Syrian, and will kill the Indian, and will kill the same thing. And the same way I function, the same way my heart function, and my lungs function, and the same way these things function, every single man. And the same desires I have of love, commitment, of joy, of peace, of health. Every man holds that also. He has made us of one blood. And that's why we know that someone is not a human being and we lock them away. When they start to do things that all of us will not do. That's how we know if you are mad or you're a criminal. Because you do things that we are not doing. Yeah, but then you may be right and we may be wrong, but I don't know. Tonight, I want to deal with a king's dream. God spoke through a message through a heathen king. I emphasize heathen that you may understand that God will talk to anyone if he wants to get a message to someone. Stay with me. Stay with me tonight. We're going to enjoy ourselves. Trust me. The ancient king had a dream. And he got up that morning after the dream and he had no idea what he dreamt. You ever had a dream like that? You dream and then you get in where I dreamt something at all. I don't know what it was. Well, this was the king's dream. The difference is it troubled him mightily. He knew he dreamt something. He knew it was profound. He knew the magnitude of it was something that had never happened to him. But one thing he couldn't remember was what it was. And he was tormented. He was troubled. So he called all the wise men, and the Bible said, so the king summoned the magicians. Now he had no preachers. Check what he had. So the king summoned the magicians, the enchanters, the sorcerers, and the astrologers to tell him what he had dreamed. No man of God. But what he did here, as I'm reading, I recognize he consults someone that you others consult too, like the astrologer. But look at the company that the astrologers kept. Sorcerers, astrologers, enchanters, magicians. That's a company of astrologers. Although me know, I know you do. When they came in and stood before the king, he said to them, I have had a dream that troubles me, and I want to know what it means. Like Daniel 2:1-3, what it means. So he called them in now and he said, you know, fellas, I had a dream last night. But I don't have an idea what that dream was. But these were the men who were accustomed telling him his dream. But they told him his dream because he would have said what he dreamt, and they would have put it into their own language. But this morning was a different morning. He wanted to know, and they could not say to him, what did you dream? They said, King, tell us what you dreamt, and we will tell you. And then the king recognized that these men were fooling him all along. No, it's not easy to be fooled, but the pain to be fooled is a more serious thing, because he was paying these men. And he recognized he was paying them to be fooled. And the first thing he did, I want you to understand that. The first thing he did, because there were people fooling you and telling you all kinds of things. But the first thing he did, he didn't look to get some guys who were telling the truth to him. No, he was dealing with the error first. The Bible says, so the decree went out, and they began killing. He said, kill all these fellas. Because not only they fooled me, Eddie, but they charged me for it. That's the problem. So the decree went out, and they began killing the wise men. And they sought Daniel and his companions to kill them. Now, when they begin killing, they're killing everybody. I see something is happening. And when I speak on Daniel chapter 11, I see something is happening. We are all for. You know what has united the Christian community or the religious community? Anti-LGBTQ and abortion have united the community. A community of hypocrites. There are 18,000 children are dying in Gaza, and they are dying every day. And I'm not hearing these hypocrites talking, but they are concerned about abortion. And little children dying every day. Nobody talking about it. Nobody talking about it. So he decided to kill these fellas. Too much hypocrites around. And all our friends who looked palm readers, walk down Fifth Avenue, and every corner you find someone with a palm, someone with a chalice, someone with something. But friend, right in New York here, we'll come to that. Malaysian Airlines, we'll come to that. Gone missing. Not one soothsayer could tell us what it is. Not one person who said they know the future. Not one astrologer. Not one fortune teller. Not one. The airline is still missing. And maybe we'll all be dead, and somebody will find out at the bottom of the ocean for history's sake. It always happens. Years after, somebody will find it. But we don't know. And you could walk down Fifth Avenue, and all those covenants are there, and none can tell us what it is. But some of you still believe them. Come on, talk to me. People are begging for answers right in New York. Right down Manhattan. 6 young guys trained for 6 months. And no one knew, no soothsayer, no palm reader knew. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Yeah. Not one knew to tell them, don't go to work today, and tell American Airlines, like, here we're going on, fellas going to steal 3 planes, and mayhem will proceed. Not one. They killed over 2,000 people that day. Over 2,000, and not one psychic warned George Bush that trouble was on its way. No, but that happened. How dare you could still believe in these guys? So when they went to Daniel to kill him, Daniel, Shadrach, and Meshach, and Abednego, when they went to them to kill them, because they were wise men too, but they were not senior wise men, they were junior wise men. All of them were wise. And he came to Daniel, Daniel said, I know God, and he removes kings and he raises up kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He said, I know a God. I know a God. And he gives wisdom to the wise. Friend, we separate ourselves as those who know God, knowing that what we follow is true. That I'm not just babbling, I know I'm bringing some facts to the matter because my God, he knows. Talk to me. He said, I'll tell you something, yeah? He said to Ariel, he said, we'll pray about it. Friend, prayer makes the difference. I want you to understand that. I want you to understand in your darkest hour, prayer makes the difference. When the whole life seems, nothing seems to be going your way, friend, spend a little time in prayer. In the silence of it all, you spend a little time in prayer. And they said to him, well, we know a God in heaven. Well, let's talk to him. And regardless of what the circumstances is, Daniel and his friends recognized they had to speak to God. Prayer is the strongest weapon. So they came before the king. Ariel brought them before the king. And Daniel, in Daniel 2:25, then Ariel quickly brought Daniel before the king and said thus to him, I have found what? A man. This was a boy, you know. He said, I found a man. After they killed all those soothsayers who were men with beard and things like that, he said, I found a man of the captains of Judah who will make known to the king the interpretation. I can imagine how relieved the king started feeling. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, are you able? The fact that the king is asking Daniel, are you able? It says to me that the king was in deep trepidation. He wanted to be relieved. And friends, sometimes you are in deep trepidation. And I'm saying the same word that freed the king is available to you tonight. Give Jesus a chance every time you are confused. Give Jesus a chance anytime you are hurting. Give Jesus a chance every time you feel forlorn and broken. Give Jesus a chance. You say, are you able to make known to me the dream which I have seen and its interpretation? He didn't only want the dream, he wanted what it meant. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king has demanded, the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, cannot declare to the king. He must get out with them. He says, all them fellas you're paying all that big money, they can't help you. He said, but there is a God in heaven who reveals secrets, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what will be in the latter days. In what days? The latter days. Thousands of years ago this happened. But Daniel was saying this, what he was saying to the king was for the latter days. Your dream and the vision of your head upon your bed were these. So I'm going to tell you it now, king. He said, you, O king, were watching. And behold, a great image, this great image whose splendor was excellent, stood before you. And his form was awesome. This image head was of fine gold. And as Daniel began to speak, the king, started to come back to the king. Its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. You watched, O king, while the stone was cut out without hands, which struck the image on his feet of iron and clay and broke them in pieces. At that time, the king would have jumped up and said, that's it. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were crushed together and became like chaff from the summer threshing floor. And the king, now he was on his feet. That's it. That's it. And then the stone that struck the image. Huh. That stone was pretty large. What happened there, James? I have to say amen. I wonder if it will happen again. Yes. He said, and his form was awesome. This image head was of fine gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. You watched, and while the stone was cut out without hands. Man, this had to be a dream that would have troubled the king like that. Yeah. Which struck the image on his feet of iron and feet of clay and broke them in pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, the gold were crushed together and became like a shaft from the summer threshing floors. The wind carried them away so that no trace of them was found. And the stone came. And that stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Oh, the king was standing now. Oh, the king was looking up. Oh, the king felt comforted. He said, now we will tell the interpretation of it before the king. And this is what the king was waiting on. Say, you are the head of gold. Now you remember that Babylon came after the fall of Egypt. So he wasn't mentioning Egypt because Egypt was gone. Babylon was in control now. So he said, you are that head of gold. So he's telling them about the world and its systems. Babylon was a city that was so great. It is said that 40 Syrian cars could pass across on the wall. It was impregnable. No one was thought of Babylon being destroyed. It was a wonder of the world. People came from afar to gaze upon the hanging gardens of Babylon. It was a great city. It was so great that the king built these gardens for his wife. There was a letter from Nebuchadnezzar that archaeologists found in the ruin that said Babylon, the whole earth prostrate at the feet, may it last forever. The idea of Babylon being destroyed was preposterous even to think it. Even to think it, that Babylon could be destroyed. It is like saying that one day Jamaica will overthrow the United States. I come with the hour, right? It was like that. It was like that. And Babylon lasted from 605 to 539. God said it will be destroyed. Are you with me? Yeah. You are the head of gold, but he had breasts of silver and bronze and iron and clay and mud. So he knew that his kingdom will come to an end. And we'll study what he did to try to avoid that out here one of these nights. Daniel 2:39 said, and after these shall rise another kingdom inferior to you. Now God was saying these things when there was no other kingdom, when Babylon was considered impregnable. God was saying that it will be destroyed by an inferior kingdom. Come with the old I say. And when Daniel heard that, when Nebuchadnezzar heard that, he built an entire statue of gold. No inferior kingdom after me. Stay with me. The next kingdom came on the scene following Babylon was Medo-Persia. And this was a coalition of two powers, the Medes and the Persians. And there's some reason why the Bible said call it a Persian kingdom and not a Medes kingdom, because the Persian was the dominant part of that kingdom. You all have search machines, I think, tonight. Prove me in. You got to take me on. I could be one of them same fellows who get up every Sunday morning and beg for money. So prove what I'm saying is true. One night, Belshazzar was having a feast. And as he began the feast, and all the dancing girls were there, all the girls were wearing clothing that was either the poor, so they cannot change clothing, or undersized. But they were all there. And they were having a ball, and they were drinking, and they were fetting, and everything was going fine. Until, my brother said, until Belshazzar sent into the temple for the vessels that were dedicated to God. And I tell people that when I meet people in different places and want to come against me, I said, don't do it. I am dedicated to God. Go and do act nice when you go after what is dedicated to Him. Hear me? Walk fearlessly. If your hand is in the hand of the master, walk fearlessly because He protects His own. And as they were drinking, and the king was filled with liquor, he sent for the vessels, and they brought those vessels from the temple. Are you with me still? And as they were singing and dancing and gyrating and smoking and vaping and having little clothes on, and they were going off, and the place was hot, and Beyonce was there, and everything was going. A brother's hand began to write against the wall. And as the hand began to write, the music stopped. When their time come and the music will stop. The music stopped. And as the brother's hand began to write against the wall, everybody stopped. The king stopped. A lot of drunkards got sober. Time is coming. And they ran and they called Daniel. By that time, he was an old man. And they brought him up, and the king said to him, if you just tell me what this means, I'm going to give you half of a third of the kingdom. Make him third ruler of the kingdom. And Daniel looked at it. As God said to Daniel, Daniel said, I don't want anything, because you have nothing to give. And in fact, this is your last night. Right. Have mercy. Friends, some of us, this is our last night now. There are some folks who left home this morning and did not get back home at all. There are some folks who will go to bed tonight and will not rise in the morning at all. And then some folks could be one of us. It means that every day I must live as it's my last day. Every day I must confirm my status with God. Every day. Because I have no power over the last minute. When Pastor Sutherland died, he was preaching. He was preaching, brother. And after he preached, he wiped his bald head, he drank a bit of water, and he told the congregation, I am feeling so good now. And he sat and he poured over his chair. I said that to tell you of that hour when we will go. Nobody knows. Nobody knows that if you finish hearing the sermon, or if Pastor Brown will finish preaching the sermon. That's why we live as if every day is our last one. That's why we learn to embrace God, because we have no power over time. He said, many, God had numbered thy kingdom and finished it. He said, Tucker, thou art weighed in the balances and found wanted. Perez, the kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. And friend, that very night, while the party was in full swing, when the DJs and the drummers and the cymbal makers and all the folks were whining and gyrating and having a good time, Cyrus of the Persia came upon to the Euphrates River. He dug through the mud and he came to the temple. The gates were open, but he came to the temple. On top of the wall, the soldiers were there. They were drunk, they were drinking, they threw food on them, they spat on them. And then Cyrus moved away. And he went to the channel that there was a gate there. But the gate was left open because the soldiers were drunk. There's a penalty for drunkenness now. And he dug through the mud while they sing and they dance, while they gyrate and while they had their orgies. He drove his army through the mud. And they came through that magnificent city wall that was impenetrable. And they got into the city, and Belshazzar was killed that night. Isaiah writing some 1,500 years before. He says, thus said the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings to open before him the two-leaf gates, and the gates shall not be shut. 1,500 years before, 150 years before, Isaiah writing, Cyrus was not born, his mother was not born, his father was not born, his grandparents was not born, yet God was calling him by name. Come on, talk to me. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God. God called him by name. Cyrus' name approximately 150 years before his birth. God called his name. And not only that, God said that Babylon will not be rebuilt. Now, Babylon is just about 100 miles from Baghdad. Not that far from it. And God is saying, although Baghdad is a teeming city of large buildings and an active population, 100 miles down the road, there's ruins because the Bible said, friend, talk to me. The Bible said, and Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, pride will be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It will never be inhabited. Nor will it be settled from generation to generation. It's like God daring them. It's like God daring, and he's saying it will not be rebuilt. He said, no, will the Arabian, and before that Arabs, God was talking about Arabians. I want you to understand the magnitude of the prophecy. Nor will the Arabian pitch tents there. Nor will shepherds make their sheepfold there. But wild beasts of the desert will lie there, and their houses will be full of owls. Ostriches will dwell there, and wild goats will caper there. God said it will not be rebuilt. Saddam Hussein came and said he will rebuild Babylon, and he will be the prince of Babylon. You understand? He had the power to do it. He had the money, the resources to do it. He was in control of his people. He was a despot. And he said, going to bring no, stop him. Friend, I want you to understand that the Bible can be trusted. And when Jesus says he's coming again, just as how these prophecies are being fulfilled, he will come again. And when he said that he will be with those who call upon his name, friends, regardless of what may happen with your children, with your spouse, on your job, I'm saying to you, take it to Jesus. In the dark of the night, friends, when all you feel to do is cry, I'm saying, call out to Jesus. When everything seems hopeless, I'm saying, call out to Jesus. Saddam said he built. And what happened to Saddam? Americans found him hiding in a hole, in a foxhole, and they hung him. It was a kangaroo court, but needless to say, the prophet said it wouldn't happen. Talk to me. He said, Medo-Persia was that kingdom that lasted from 539 to 331 BC. It was inferior. But the Bible said it didn't stop there. Daniel said that another kingdom will rise. Are you with me? Yeah. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. And how this happened? this one is, let me go back on this slide. This one is almost hard to understand. The leadership of Alexander the Great. He met Darius of the Medes and the Persians on the battleground. Alexander the Great had 40,000 men. Darius had 1 million men. And it wasn't gunships, rocket launchers, and warplanes, you know. They had swords and knives and bow and arrows and javelins. You would think 4,000 men, both armed with these sort of things. The 1 million men must win. You would think so. Primitive government. It didn't happen like that. It did not happen like that. The Bible said next there will be another kingdom of bronze. A historian writing in chapter 12 in the history, and folks, I'm saying you have search machines now where Yahoo and Google and whatever to check what I'm saying. He said, I am persuaded, not a Bible man, not a pastor, not a preacher. He said, I am persuaded that there was no nation, city, nor people where his name did not reach. He's speaking of Alexander the Great. He said, there seemed to me to have been some divine hand presiding both over his birth and his actions. A historian looking at this, it makes no sense. How could 40,000 men slay 1 million men using swords and knives and rapier and one arrow? How could that be possible? You see, when God lay on the prophecy, he lays it on their waist. You cannot deny that is the hand of God. You can't deny. I mean, they had guns. One is superior weapon could tactic, because we are seeing it right now. For 2.5 years, Ukraine has held Russia at bay. Russia armies as large as Ukraine population, but they have kept them out there. You can understand that. Type of weapons that are being used, it can happen, and they could fully well win at the end of the day. But when you come to we all fighting with the same weapons, knives and bows and javelins, how on earth could 40,000 men conquer an army of 1 million? But Greece's reign came to an end, friends. In 331 to 164 BC was Greek reign. Then the Bible spoke about the kingdom, Rome. The fourth was the kingdom of pagan Rome, which overthrew Greece in 168 BC. Pagan Rome was power. Pagan Rome was ruling at the time when Jesus was born. Remember the pagan story that you're winding into a Christian story? Let me run with this story. Let me run with this story. In the time of Jesus' birth, Rome ruled the world. Rome ruled the world. When Jesus was crucified, Rome ruled the world. The governor said every man must pay taxes in the place of their father's birth. And I will deal with this again in the morning. Mary, Joseph, and was betrothed to Mary. I know why that happened. Because in those days, men never used to marry their young boys. They kept those boys until those boys were about 40 years old. Then they began to complain about back strain and side strain, because it was an agrarian society. So those boys were necessary, and those boys were needed for manual labor. So they kept their boys. So as soon as a young lady came to her mother and said, I am bleeding at the end of the month here, the mother recognized that the hormones will take charge now. So she would have to get a husband for this child, which might be 13, 14, because she got to keep the child there. Next thing is have to mix up behind both men. Remember in those days, when a man married a woman, she had to be a virgin. And they would sleep on a white sheet And even in the morning, the sheet is still white. Somebody will walk up the road and tell the father, go and pick up your daughter. And because she would not be married again, they had no backhoe and bulldozers and cranes. Men had to do the work. So having a daughter in your home, unmarried, can't be married, that's another mouth to feed. Are you with me? So as soon as she said, she's seeing her. Back in the old days, we used to say tanty in tongue. As soon as she said that, he would go and get a husband. So the husband's usually 40, 45, and the girl was 13. Not because they were kinky, that was how it was supposed to be. So Mary, and people tell you Mary was about 12 and Joseph was about 40. It's not the truth. That was very there. And because men are keeping their boys, I want to talk to these guys who feel that there are 3 and 4 women. Because they read it in the Bible. Because men were keeping their boys, when tanty is in town, they have to go to a man who already had a wife. It wasn't because these fellows were kinky. They were just, so sometimes a man ended up with 6 wives. But if you end up with 6 wives, 13, 14, in 20 years, you have labor force for so. Well, the agrarian society. So you end up with 6 wives, young age. Young age, not 6 wives that you have to go and get Benjus and things to rub them down. It's about young wives. So it was beneficial to the society. Are you with me? Rome ruled the world. That the dreadful and terrible was her rule. She was, it was the most brazen, was the most diabolic, was the most rough, was a rule that was so that the beast that John used in Revelation to describe it was in this. So there's no beast as how terrible Rome was. Are you with me? What happened? In 160 BC, in the mid-century, Rome had ruled for a long time, and we still have the vestige of Rome. All around hospitals and schools and even temples, these things came out of Rome rule. Roads, Rome rule. Rome is still with us because as we listen to prophecy out here from 99, you will see why Rome and Romish ideas are still with us because it impacts on all the prophecies going forward. Rome rule. Then the Bible said, Gibbons in the decline and fall of the Roman Empire said, the images of gold, of silver, these are not Christian writers I'm quoting tonight. The images of gold, of silver, of brass that might have served to represent the nation and their kings was successfully broken by the iron monarchy of Rome. I want to say those who are very bright and say, well, I don't believe in this thing anymore. You know something? Isaac Newton was one of the first persons who said that those images on the statue are images representing nations. And he was a scientist of great, But he understood that there was a power greater than all science. And that power is the man, Jesus Christ. That's God he's talking about. And whereas Daniel 24:41 says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Oh, no Greco kingdom anymore, or Persian kingdom anymore, or Babylonian kingdom anymore, or Romish kingdom anymore. He said the kingdom will be divided. Man, how could he know this? Well, how did Rome came to destroy it? There was some Germanic tribes. Wild men. Blue eyes and brown hair. And the like. Wild men. And they heard that Rome had riches. And they rode into Rome. These were men, they ate the meat raw. They put it on their saddle and sat to keep it warm. That was the kind of men you were dealing with. And when they got to Rome, they ransacked Rome. How you think? They were called the Goths. And we, friends, keep coming in. There's some stuff I have for you. I'm not keeping on the pages. I'm going into what is happening in the world today. These men were the Alemanni, the Burgundian, the Franks, the Lombards, the Saxons, the Swabians, the Visigoths. They were German today, Swiss, French, Italian. In fact, the term barbaric was the way to describe these men as barbarians. No, the barbarians didn't come from Africa, India. No, the barbarians came from Europe. There was the barbaric man. Are you still with me? Yeah. Still with me. So I won't go wrong again. I wouldn't go wrong. One night when we come out here, we'll deal with the whole destruction of the whole thing, those 3 tribes, and what happened. But these were barbarians with Europe, and they ransacked Rome. Daniel 2:20, she said, as you saw iron mixed with ceramic clay, they will mingle with the seeds of men. The Bible said after Rome falls, there'll be a mingling. After Rome was broken up by the Germanic tribe, the Bible said there'll be a mingling. And it started with Charlemagne, who decided he was going to have his own Holy Roman Empire. One historian said that the empire wasn't holy and it wasn't Roman. He died a disappointed man, never able to pull Rome together. You see how Vladimir Putin tried to pull back the Russian Empire? He's gonna die, right? And he as some of you may have Russian leaning, I don't give that. But I'm saying to you that he is going to get an ignoble downfall. It will not be pretty. We have not seen anyone who tries such a thing to see going to come and put everything back together. You saw it in Saddam. Charlemagne happened, and he's going to be soon after, because God said they will mingle, but they will not. After Charlemagne, we had Charles V, who decided he was going to unite all of Europe together. And he launched the continent into what we call a bloodbath. When you get home, read about it. I don't want to spend too much time on it. When you get home, read about it. Bible said they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Mingle is an old English word that means intermarry. I'm telling you out here tonight, the Bible is true. They will mingle. Next came Louis XIV of France, who was a fancy dresser. And you can check it out. He was around. Some of you feel this fancy dress that men wearing. They came, Louis started wearing fancy. He died also. The Bible said, they shall not cleave. The Watchman, August 1941, said, speaking about Napoleon, I want to found the European system, a European code of law, a European court of appeals. Napoleon was trying, great general as he was. There would have been one people throughout Europe. Europe would soon have become one nation. The Bible said it will not happen. The director of modern history by Arnold said the deliverance of Europe from the dominion of Napoleon was effected neither by Russia, nor by Germany, nor by England, but by the hand of God. And I will explain why he said that. But I'm saying, friend, these are not Christian men who are making these statements. These are men who simply observing what's before them and recognize nothing but God could have stopped that. Nothing but God. And what happened in the Battle of Waterloo? Napoleon had conquered everything. And he marched his troop into Russia. He had went as far as the borders of India. But as he started out, snow began to fall. And as it got colder, and Napoleon lost half of his army to the cold, half of his army, they froze to death. So when he met the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo, he had lost all his troops. And although he was a great, and some of you were hearing Duke of Wellington for the first time, but you know Napoleon's name, the reason why you know his name, because he was such a great warrior. But when he met the Duke of Wellington at Waterloo, half of his soldiers had died, another half was sick, and they had all sorts of disease like syphilis and gonorrhea and all those things. He couldn't fight. And that's why the historian said it was the hand of God. I heard one writer said, what stopped Napoleon? A snowflake. A snowflake. He said they will not cling together. They shall not cleave, he said. What was the principal adversary of the tremendous power? By whom was it checked and resisted and put down? By none and by nothing but the direct and manifest interposition of God. God stopped it. And I'm saying, if God can stop these great men, there's nothing he cannot do for you. Some of us worry about enemies, about people saying things about us, about people doing this thing. Friend, God can take control of that. Let's wrap this thing up, please. I want to go through all these guys. Let's get to Daniel 2:43. As you saw iron mixed with ceramic clay, they will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not adhere to one another, just as iron does mix. By the time of World War I, all the kings and queens of Europe were from one family. All of them were related. They were the children and grandchildren of Queen Victoria. Are you with me? Then the Bible said, and in the days of these kings, in the days when France and Germany and England are nations, in the days of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom. We are living in that time. We are living in a time when the God of heaven will set up the kingdom. We are living in that time. We are living in a time when we see the God coming, when you will shout and his voice will reach into the earth like peals of thunder. We are living in a time when the graves will be open. We are living in a time when God will call his children. We are living in that time. He said, the days of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, the Bible said. Hear me tonight. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. The Bible said, in the days of these kings, so the dream is sure. The dream is certain and the interpretation sure. Friends, Jesus came and died. Yes. Friends, Babylon was a kingdom. So too was Medo-Persia. So too was Greece. And so too was Rome. And God said they were the ceramic and iron, and they will not mingle. All these things came to pass. So when he said he's coming again for me, I believe because I've seen what has happened by the utterance of his word. Then in the days of these kings, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. When Jesus comes, that kingdom will be an eternal kingdom. When he ricochet, when his voice ricochet like peace of thunder, when the earth has its upheaval, when fire consumes the earth, when water gush over the earth, when he calls his children from the grave, and those who are walking circumspectly, he will call them, and in a moment, Paul said, in the twinkling of an eye, we shall all be changed. There's a day of victory coming. There's a day when Jesus will come, friend. There's a day when he will come and he will not stay silent. There's a day when he'll come back for us. When you cry at night in pain for your spouse, for your children, for your loved ones, when you cry at night in pain, know that there's a day coming, friends. There's a day coming when there'll be no more tears. There's a day coming when there'll be no more heartache. There's a day coming when there will be peace, abundant peace. There is a day coming. When he comes, the Bible says, oh, he will not be silent. There is a day coming, friends. Jesus is coming again. May God bless you tonight.
You know, folks are saying, wherever there's this smoke, I want to know. And I want you to know, this evening, tonight, this is just the smoke. You can't miss tomorrow. You know exactly what the pastor is talking about. You have to be here tomorrow, so to get a continuation of it. We won't keep you any longer. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. See you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. You gotta be here tomorrow at 11 o'clock. That's all stand up and saying, soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah. Good night, everybody. See you again tomorrow. God bless you. Be safe.